Long ago, the world was beautiful. Tall trees, sparkling rivers, and bunnies everywhere. But people forgot how to be kind. They shouted, "Mine," and grumbled all day, ignoring God. Imagine a playground where no one shares or says thank you. That's how the world felt, full of selfishness and arguments. God was sad. He wanted to start fresh, to wash away the grumpiness and bring back love. But in the middle of all this, there was one man who was different. Noah. Noah loved God, listened to him, and tried to do what was right even when others didn't. He taught his family to be kind too, and God smiled at Noah's good heart. So God chose Noah for a secret, world-changing mission, a job only Noah could do. The adventure was about to begin. One sunny day, as the birds chirped and the world seemed peaceful, Noah heard a voice unlike any other. It was gentle, yet powerful, a voice that filled his heart with both awe and wonder. "Noah, I have an important job for you," the voice said, echoing softly through the air. Noah listened closely, his heart beating fast, knowing that something extraordinary was about to happen. God explained, "The world is messy. People have forgotten kindness and goodness. I'm sending a great flood to wash it clean, but I promise to keep you and your family safe because you have always done what is right. Build a giant ark out of sturdy gopher wood," God instructed. "Make it big enough for your family and for every kind of animal. Give it many rooms, a strong roof, and cover it with tar inside and out so not a single drop of water can get in." Noah didn't argue or question God's plan, even though building a huge boat on dry land seemed impossible and a little bit silly. He trusted God completely. He knew that God's wisdom was greater than his own. "Okay, God," Noah replied with a steady voice. He was ready for the challenge, no matter how big or strange it seemed. He believed that if God asked him to do it, there must be a very good reason. But God's plan was even bigger than Noah imagined. "Bring 2 of every animal, big and small, wild and tame, onto the ark," God said. "Make sure there's enough space and food for all of them, so they will be safe during the flood." Noah realized he would be the captain of a floating zoo. Lions, elephants, rabbits, birds, and even tiny insects would all need a place on the ark. It was a huge responsibility, but Noah was determined to do his best. The task ahead was enormous, bigger than anything Noah had ever done, but his faith in God was even bigger. He knew that with God's help, he could do anything, no matter how impossible it seemed. Noah gathered his family and explained God's plan. Together they collected tools, gathered piles of wood, and prepared to start building the ark, trusting that God would guide them every step of the way. As they worked, people from the village came to watch. Some laughed and pointed, thinking Noah was foolish for building a boat where there was no water. But Noah didn't let their laughter bother him. He kept working, listening to God's instructions. Deep down, Noah knew this mission would change everything, not just for him, but for the whole world. He felt a sense of purpose and hope, even when the task seemed overwhelming. With courage in his heart and trust in God's promise, Noah picked up his tools and began the work. Every nail he hammered and every board he placed brought him closer to completing God's special mission. As the days passed and the ark grew taller, dark clouds began to gather in the sky. The countdown to the great flood had started, but Noah and his family were ready, trusting that God would keep them safe through the storm. Imagine waking up one morning and deciding to build a massive boat, right in the middle of dry land, far from any river or sea. That's exactly what Noah and his family did. With determination in their hearts, they gathered their tools and got to work, sawing, hammering, and shaping the ark from strong gopher wood, just as God had instructed. Every day, the sound of their labor echoed across the fields as beams were lifted and planks were fitted together. Day after day, the boat took shape, growing taller and longer, right there in the middle of dry land where no one had ever seen a ship before. The sun beat down, the wind blew dust across the site, but the work never stopped. The ark began to look more and more like a real ship, even though there wasn't a drop of water in sight. As the ark grew, so did the curiosity and the laughter of the neighbors. People from nearby towns came to watch, shaking their heads and whispering to each other. Some even shouted jokes. "Why build a boat here? Are you expecting rain in the desert?" Their laughter rang out, and many thought Noah's family had lost their minds. But Noah didn't hide from their questions. He stood tall and explained, "God told me a big rain is coming, a flood that will cover the earth." The crowd only laughed louder, unable to believe such a thing could ever happen. They thought Noah's warning was just a wild story. Still, Noah kept building, his face set with determination. He trusted God's promise more than the opinions or laughter of the people around him. Every swing of the hammer was an act of faith, a sign that he believed in something bigger than himself. Noah turned the hard work into a family project. Together they sang songs to keep their spirits high, sharing stories and laughter of their own. The teamwork made the long days pass more quickly, and their bond grew stronger with every board they nailed in place. Every plank nailed was a step of faith, a reminder that they were following a purpose greater than themselves. Each piece of wood added to the ark was a symbol of their trust in God's word, even when it seemed impossible. As the weeks turned into months, the ark grew bigger and stronger. Its towering sides and sturdy beams stood as proof of their hard work and faith. The neighbors could no longer ignore the giant ship taking shape before their eyes. Noah's family worked side by side, ignoring the mockers and focusing on their mission. They encouraged each other, knowing that what they were building was important, even if no one else understood. Deep down, they knew they were building more than just a boat. They were building hope for the future, a promise of safety and a new beginning. At last, after many long days and nights, the ark stood finished, a giant, magnificent rescue ship, ready for whatever was to come. Its size and strength amazed even those who had doubted. The world was about to change forever, and Noah's faith had built the vessel that would carry hope into a brand new world. The ark was finally ready, standing tall and strong on the hilltop, its wooden beams gleaming in the shifting light. Suddenly, a deep rumble and a mighty roar filled the air, echoing across the land and sky. It was as if the whole world was holding its breath, waiting for something incredible to happen. Then, on the distant horizon, a wondrous sight appeared. Animals of every shape and size began to emerge. Elephants lumbered side by side, penguins waddled in perfect step, giraffes stretched their long necks above the crowd, and snakes slithered quietly along. Lions, zebras, rabbits, and even tiny ants all came in pairs, just as God had promised Noah. The earth seemed to come alive with the sound of footsteps, hooves, and wings, as creatures from every corner of the world made their way toward the ark. Noah and his family stood at the entrance, their faces beaming with joy and wonder. They waved and called out, "Come in, everyone! There's room for all!" The family welcomed each animal with open arms, making sure every creature felt safe and loved as they approached the great wooden door. The animals entered the ark peacefully, 2 by 2, without any pushing or shoving. It was as if they understood that this was a place of safety, a shelter from the coming storm. Even the fiercest animals walked calmly, side by side with the gentlest, united by a sense of trust and hope. Inside, the ark transformed into a cozy, bustling zoo. Every corner was filled with life, soft fur, colorful feathers, and curious eyes peeking out from every stall. The air buzzed with gentle sounds, the low rumble of elephants, the chirping of birds, and the soft purring of kittens. Noah's family worked together, making sure every animal had food and a comfy spot to rest. They carried baskets of hay, bowls of water, and special treats for each creature. Birds perched on rafters and sang sweet songs, while puppies wagged their tails and played with the children. Kittens curled up for cozy naps, purring softly as they drifted off to sleep. Even the shyest animals found a quiet corner to rest, feeling safe and warm inside the ark. The ark was soon filled with the joyful sounds of life and hope, chirps, growls, barks, and laughter. It was a place where every creature, big or small, felt at home, and where the promise of a new beginning filled the air. Everyone was safe inside, waiting together for the next part of God's great adventure. Noah's family and the animals shared stories, comforted one another, and watched as the world outside began to change. Outside, the sky was changing. Dark clouds gathered, and the wind began to howl, signaling that something big was about to happen. But inside the ark, a warm, glowing light filled every corner. Faith, kindness, and love brought comfort to all, reminding them that they were not alone. The world outside was about to be washed clean by the rain, making way for a fresh start and a brighter future. The ark was ready for the storm, strong and steady, carrying its precious cargo toward a new beginning. With everyone aboard, God shut the ark's door tight. For 7 days, Noah's family waited, caring for the animals and praying. Then, the first raindrop fell, pitter-patter on the roof. The rain grew heavier, turning streams into rivers and rivers into a vast sea. The ark lifted and floated as water covered the land, even the tallest mountains. Inside, Noah's family and the animals were safe and dry. They trusted God's promise, even as the storm raged outside. To calm the little ones, Noah's wife sang a gentle lullaby about God's care. The rain fell for 40 days and nights, but inside the ark, there was peace. God's rescue plan was working. The world was being made new. Life on the ark was busy, feeding animals, cleaning stalls, and working together as a team. Each family member had a job, and everyone helped, showing kindness and patience. They played games, told stories, and sang songs to pass the time. Looking out the window, all they saw was water, but they weren't afraid. Their faith kept them strong, trusting God's plan even when they couldn't see the end. The ark became a place of teamwork, worship, and hope. God was with them every day. After many days, the ark finally came to rest on a mountain. Noah sent out a raven, then a dove to see if the land was dry. The dove returned with nothing, so Noah waited patiently. A week later, the dove came back with a fresh olive leaf, a sign that new life was growing. Everyone cheered. God was making the world new again. After another week, the dove didn't return. It had found a home. God told Noah, "It's time. Come out of the ark." Noah opened the door, and sunlight poured in. The long adventure was ending, and a new beginning was here. The world was ready for a fresh start. Noah, his family, and all the animals stepped onto clean, fresh earth. The animals celebrated their freedom, and Noah built an altar to thank God. As he prayed, a brilliant rainbow stretched across the sky, a sign of God's promise. God said, "This rainbow is my promise. I'll never flood the whole earth again." The rainbow was for Noah, his children, and for us, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. Every time we see a rainbow, we remember God's love and faithfulness. Noah's family felt peace, knowing God always keeps his promises. To celebrate, they sang a song about God's colorful promise. Red for love, green for new life, blue for the sky, each color a reminder of God's care. The rainbow was a forever promise. God's love would never end. What can we learn from Noah's story? First, God cares about us and sees our hearts, just like he saw Noah's. Second, we can trust God, even when his plans seem strange. Third, God always keeps his promises. The rainbow is proof. When we're kind, trust God, and remember his promises, we make his heart happy. Next time you see a boat, an animal, or a rainbow, remember Noah's faith and God's love. You can be like Noah, kind, brave, and trusting in God's plan. What was your favorite part? Keep looking for God's rainbows.